All right, guys. Hey, thanks for holding on. We're starting a couple minutes late today. Got a big group, and that's good. That's a good thing. It's indicative of some interest, and we'll get going. Today's webinar should only last 30 minutes or so. There are times when I get a little bit more long-winded than others, and I'll try not to. Just by way of a couple of updates, a couple housekeeping things. If you want to ask questions, I absolutely encourage it. But because we've got a relatively large group on today, I'm not going to be able to open up the lines to everybody. So please go ahead and type in questions into your question box or chat box there that you've got on your console, the GoToMeeting console. If I ignore your questions, it's because I'm probably going to answer that question coming up. So, but don't not ask questions, but because of that. So type them in there. So the goal for today is to provide you with as much information about our industry, our system, the support within the dealer network, the characteristics for the ideal applicator, the investment requirements, and to determine if you and your company are a good fit for our particular program. At the conclusion of today's webinar, you should clearly know if you'd like to take the next steps in our discovery process. My name is Tom Kelly. I am the founder of the company here, and I head up the dealer side of things in terms of dealer support and product support. You can follow me at these places. I post there regularly. So a couple other things we'll cover. We'll talk about who we are, the history of our company, what our dealer applicators do. I should mention here, I use the word dealer a lot, and we are what's legally known as a dealer network. And what that means, it does not mean that we're asking you to sell product. Sometimes we say the word dealer, and it indicates that we're asking you as dealers to sell our product, and that's not the case. What you'll do is you'll apply our products in your lawn care business. We're not a franchise, but the next thing, the thing similar to that is a dealer network. So I try to not refer to us as dealers, but I always do. We'll talk a little bit about the industry and demand involved with what's going on right now. Some of the business model advantages that go along with the lawn care business model if you don't already offer a lawn care program. Talk about the typical profile for our applicators. Again, we'll review the investment. Talk about a little bit in regards to the programs and systems. We'll review a couple of products, and then we'll talk about the next steps. Just as a starting point, BeeSafe Organic Lawn Care is a brand under the parent firm of Natural Technologies Incorporated. We have a sister brand called Firebelly Organics, which is a business I started soon after selling my lawn care business well, a few years ago at this point. Then we were approached by a company called Natural Technologies to take that product line and some of the philosophies and spin it off into this particular dealer network, and it's improved enormously over the last couple of years. Here's a look at some of the staff here that you'll end up talking to if you do come on as a member of the network. We launched the dealer network in August of 2011, so we haven't been around for quite a long time. It did take a little bit of work leading up to that summer. That was just last summer, 2 summers ago. And we started in that winter putting together the branding, the programs, the product, all of our approaches. But we launched officially in August of 2011. And we've grown relatively quickly, quicker than we expected we would. And I need to change the slide because we're now, I think we're at 64 official members of the network. So we brought on quite a few members in only a short period of time, in 18 months. Our goal is really to be a recognized leader, not only in organic lawn care, but we do specialize in organic lawn care, but we want to be the recognized leader in the lawn care industry in general. I really feel like we're the first company to take the risk associated with trying to lead the organic movement, I guess you'd say, or the organic industry, but we also want to be the largest at it. We really want to be the best at it. That's the most important thing. So we offer here the ability for our dealer applicators to provide residential and commercial organic lawn care. And we do it under a couple of different programs in terms of the way you as an applicator will go ahead and apply the products. And we'll review these programs over the course of the next 25 minutes or so to help you get a better understanding of what our dealer applicators actually do out there. But it's important to remember that the goal is to help your clients always have a nice lawn in a responsible and effective manner, but you always want to provide them what they want. And I like to make this distinction early on in that even though we do specialize in an organic lawn care program and approach, you never want to lose business based on something that could be conceived as advocacy or your own personal beliefs. If you do have a customer that has some weeds that they would like to see sprayed, or if one of your customers says they'd like to see their lawn fertilized with a typical standard fertilizer, you need to do that. You always need to do exactly what your customers want you to do. And even in the most conservative of organic programs and conservative standards, there are always room for what we call rescue treatment. So if indeed, in fact, a customer requests an application that wouldn't fall under the organic classification, please do it. Don't ever lose a customer based on, saying that you won't apply a certain product. So in terms of industry and demand, the current state of our lawn care industry is usually surprising to a lot of people. But if you've been in the business for any amount of time, you know that it's dominated by very few companies. And there are 3 to 5, of the biggest companies in the country taking care of 95% of the entire market share, none of which are actually specializing in organic. And that's strange to us, or I should say we see that as an opportunity because in the current climate, culturally speaking, residents and people in general really want to be more green. It sounds kind of like a cliche at this point, but environmentalism is very important to a lot of people, whether it's just, things like recycling or living more environmentally responsibly. It's a big deal in today's society. And future generations, the younger people now, that's all they know. So it's difficult to imagine why the lawn care industry remains dominated by companies applying a lot of chemicals. Also throughout the country, legislation is being passed all the time, whether it's on a state level or a county level or even a local level, that regulates and at some points bans the use of many of the pesticides and chemicals that are typically used all across the country all the time. States like New York, Connecticut have legislation in effect now that prevents the use of these products on school properties, and the terminology is where the children generally congregate. But that is also on a more local level too. Towns and municipalities have enacted certain restrictions all over the country, and these municipalities are making an effort to hire alternative type companies to provide them with what they need, and there's really a shortage out there of the companies that can successfully transition turf to fully organic the way we can at this point. So that's definitely an opportunity. Taking a quick look at the top 5 companies in the country, TruGreen at $1.3 billion. These are numbers from a couple of years ago. TruGreen had another really bad year this year, and their sales and net operating profit continued to drop. Scott's, Weedman, Lawn Doctor, and Spring Green, well, the top 5 companies in the country, accounting for 95% of the market share. And this is where I like to say that we see an enormous opportunity to be a national brand and compete at this level. But instead of doing it through a franchise network or doing it through privately owned businesses, or in the case of Scott's, a combination of both, we see the ability to connect with like-minded small to mid-sized companies, really to form a collaborative or a cooperative to work under the same brand while you guys maintain your identity as your current company, but to really put together an effort to come together as independent, small to mid-sized independent companies that don't necessarily want to buy into a franchise or aren't necessarily willing to go work for an enormous, gigantic corporate lawn care service company. So what the BeeSafe network really is about is independent, small to mid-sized businesses with common beliefs looking to compete on a national level. I want to mention about a couple different types of applicators that we've got in the network because we have all shapes and sizes, and I'm guessing that of the dozen or so people who are on today's webinar, you'll see that you'll fit in at least with one of these or can relate to one of these. Go Green Landscaping is a company up in Scarborough, Maine, who joined our network last year, really specifically to try to bid on the municipal job that was going out in Scarborough. Scarborough is one of those towns or municipalities that created a ban on lawn care pesticides to be used on municipal property. So Go Green came to us and joined the network and trained with our products and systems. And we worked with Dave specifically to put together the bid from start to finish, and he went ahead and he got the bid. He has a $100,000 account that was really a company-changing sale for him. So he went from a small to mid-size company focused really on maintenance and some construction and just a general landscape company to really being the go-to company in his region, and this $100,000 account certainly changed things for him. A company like Purple Lawn is much different. They're in New York and Pennsylvania. They got several branches. They're a big, old lawn care service company that realized they needed to add something to what they were already doing. I think they service 15,000 customers. Traditionally, they came to us to learn our system, and their organic side continues to grow. I think as of last year, they had about 1,200 organic customers, and more customers all the time are switching over. We've got a company called Safe Grown down in Tennessee, and I put them here because they were a startup. We don't typically work with startup companies. Our model is associated with companies that already exist and have an existing client base. But they came to us with and really impressed us, and they launched their business specifically based on the BeeSafe brand. Finally, Hydro Green in New Jersey, Keith owns a company that really is a full-service, all-encompassing, landscaping company. He'll do everything from maintenance to he has a traditional fertilizer program to irrigation and installations and construction and everything. And when he brought on the BeeSafe model, what he found was that it exposed him to an entire different potential customer base than ever before. And not only did he grow his organic lawn care division a lot, he was very successful with it last year, he found that sales went up astronomically with everything else because he quickly attracted a group of customers that he typically hadn't been able to get in front of before. He had an awesome year, and he'll tell you that he thinks that adding the BeeSafe model had a lot to do with it. There are some advantages to running the lawn care model in general, and if you aren't already running a fertilizer program, whether it's organic or traditional, it's important to take note of a couple things here. Organic lawn care is in demand, and there aren't a lot of companies who are able to provide a successful or cost-effective solution to it. So there's a demand for it, and there's not a lot of companies able to fill that demand. It's definitely got a higher margin than typical lawn care. Most of our guys, most of our applicators charge a little bit more for their organic program than they do for their traditional program, and with a better margin. It's definitely predictable. Lawn care, again, if you're not into it, lawn care is a very predictable model, meaning projections are very easy. Cash flow is certainly very predictable. You can generate some significant off-season cash flow by dealing with prepayments and renewals this time of year. It's also a recurring client base. The same customers use your service year after year. A typical cancellation rate would be 15%, and that's made up of people who move, people who pass away, retire, that kind of thing. And you'll always have somebody trying to find a better deal or looking for somebody else, but it's not uncommon for 85, even 90% of your customers to come back year after year. as I mentioned about HydroGreen, it's certainly going to open up new markets to you if you'd like to expand what you do already. Adding this kind of service will help you get into those markets, and there are always things to upsell, whether it's services that are associated with your lawn care program, like aeration and overseeding, or ant flea and tick control, or tree and shrub, or it's bigger things like bigger construction jobs or maintenance. Certainly, there's a huge upsell potential of using this type of model. I'm going to take a quick breath. Does anybody have any questions? I know that there are several up there, and again, like I mentioned, I'm not ignoring you. They're just things that we'll be able to cover throughout the course of the webinar. So is there anything based on what I've mentioned to this point? Okay, well, what type of company are we looking for to become a dealer applicator? And this is important because I think you'll fit into one of these categories, but it's good to get it out there. We're looking for companies who are willing to grow and are certainly comfortable with change, because a lot of what we do is based on the way the industry is changing. Typically, we like to see companies doing about $500,000 in revenue, and that's not an all-encompassing number. We have much bigger companies. We have smaller companies as well, but typically about $500,000 in revenue is what we're looking at. Obviously, a strong business acumen is important. We'd like you to be well organized operationally. Now, these are things that kind of go without saying. Discipline in terms of corporate and self-discipline are important. Of course, it helps to be passionate about lawns, passionate about your customers, and passionate about the environment too is important. I'm going to stop and answer this question real quick here. Can it be profitable to someone with, say, 50 customers? Absolutely. Yeah, it certainly can. And I would suggest to you that if you've got 50 customers now, you should try to turn that into 100 customers, and then turn it into 150. Growing your business is important, and we mentioned that we're always looking for customers who are looking to grow, but looking for companies who want to grow, and they're certainly comfortable with change. So, but yes, it can actually be profitable with as few customers as 50. So, what should you expect from us in terms of being a member of the network? We're all about support, and even though we offer you the ability to provide some very good and high quality products and provide a service that's in demand, we also like to think that we can help you with a few things that are going to help with stability, to help you sleep at night. We have a lot of experience running a business, and part of joining the network revolves around us helping you be successful, not only with the products that you apply, but with your business as well. And I always say that you can have the best products, the best employees, you can have really cool trucks, but if you're not running a good business, sometimes that's all for nothing. So we're going to help you grow your business consistently top line. We'd like to help you grow your business consistently bottom line. Being profitable is very important, like we just mentioned. We'll offer you consistent support in terms of budgeting. Marketing is very important. We always spend a great deal of time helping our applicators figure out new ways to grow their business. We won't be able to actually do that for you. We won't run a marketing campaign for you that's going to generate new business, but sometimes being a part of the network is just that. Networking is important, and you're dealing with many companies who are trying to accomplish the same exact thing, and we learn a lot from each other on a daily basis. So that marketing support, that budgeting support, and certainly operational support is a big part of what we do. We've just spent a lot of time talking about better ways for scheduling and how to run estimates, and operationally speaking, you have to be good at it. And one thing that we always mention here is the end game, and we don't sugarcoat this, because the way the industry works is that those big companies we talked about got big because they typically absorb smaller companies. So unless you're looking to build a business to hand down to your kids, you really want to build value into your business, and having a large customer base, not even a large customer base, but a profitable customer base that come back year after year is a way to make your business worth more. So that's helpful down the road if you're ever going to look at an acquisition. But stability is important too. Profitability is important, and perhaps you are looking to pass your business on to your kids and be able to retire. It's all about stability. It's all about being able to not worry about cash flow, and adding a service like this is very helpful. So I do still have a couple of questions here that I'm not going to answer because I'm about to answer them right here in this next section. What does it take to become an authorized BeeSafe dealer applicator? Well, there are several different tiers along the way that many of our applicators take advantage of as we go. The initial dealer fee to become a BeeSafe applicator is $4,995. You can protect a large amount of territory, and the cost associated that will go up. But let's start at the $49.95, the initial entry fee. As an entry-level applicator, you're going to have access to our line of BeeSafe products, the systems. The products are absolutely the core of what we do. They're very different than anything you will have been used to or have used in the past. We only sell them to members of the network. They are our own products. They are a proprietary line of products and systems, and we'll put together a program specifically for your area and your goals. And that's making the whole thing turnkey is important. So you don't have to go out and do the research to figure out how to make this work. We've already done that for you. You've got legal access to use and display all of the BeeSafe logos and branding. We understand there's power in a brand, and as we grow the network, the goal is to be known on a national basis, and we're getting there. So the branding is obviously very important. We provide you with a professionally designed suite of marketing collateral, such as brochures and estimates and door hangers and all that typical stuff that you're going to need to grow the business. We've already done that for you. You can basically just put your information in there, or have your printer or designer expand on it. Resources, letters and scripts, presentation templates, a media kit to announce to the public that you're now offering this type of service. PR is important. Obviously, the support associated with being a part of the network is a big deal. We have a weekly conference call every week at Thursday at 1 o'clock. The marketing and operational support is something that most of our guys will tell you is very important. Of course, discounts on other things that we don't necessarily manufacture, but you may need. And then we always encourage any member of the network to come to our 2-day training session that we have here in Manchester, New Hampshire, about every 4 to 6 weeks, more often in the off season. For instance, right now we have a training session coming up this week, and we're expecting up to 30 companies, I think, are going to be there. So it's busy for us right now. We have a good list of speakers. I myself do quite a bit of it. We have Chip Osborne, who will do a full day of the training. If you don't know Chip or know of Chip, I suggest Google him, and you'll find out that he is really the leading educator, agronomically speaking, in organic lawn care. He is the leader of what we do in terms of training. We also have Joe Cusick, who is, some of you guys might know, the owner of Real Green Systems. He comes and does a good talk on marketing and modern ways to grow your business. Dave Christensen is a public relations expert. We always have a couple of dealers show up. Dave Malevsky is the guy in Scarborough I mentioned. And Dick Contley, the director of dealer development, is there as well. So we have a real good time at training. It's a 2-day session, and at the conclusion of that, you're an authorized applicator. So protected territory is really the most important part of becoming a member of the network, and that initial fee will allow you to protect up to 50,000 households. So that's not a huge territory, but the protection of being able to be the only person in a market offering this type of service or carrying the BeeSafe brand really differentiates you from all of the other competitors, so it's really important. Different levels going up. If you'd like to protect more territory, it's up to you. Up to 100,000 households, which is getting to be a pretty good area, will cost $99.95, and a 250,000 plus household area will be up to the $14,995. These are all things that you can discuss later on in the process, but protecting territory is a very important part of being a member of the network. As somebody who gets some of those upper tier areas, we also will build a customized BeeSafe website for you, and we'll give you a 1-year subscription to mylawnquote.com, which is a really cool sales and estimating tool that helps you make more sales for less money. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you check it out. We'll also help determine what the demographics are, what the list, the single-family dwelling units will determine or help you figure out what that particular market's going to be. So take another quick breath here and review these questions. Again, I think I'm going to cover most of them that you've asked. We're going to talk about the products in the program a little bit here, and I did just cover the cost associated with joining the network. The territories, a couple questions about territory. That's all something that we work out in terms of what towns you get. We usually start at county just because it's more convenient that way, and then we'll drill it down to zip codes and different cities and towns. But it revolves around the number of resident single-family dwelling units in the particular area. So I think I answered most of those questions. So how does the program work? The BeeSafe Lawn Care System offers our guys, our applicators, a couple different options in terms of treating the lawn. We've got what we call an elite program, which is something that I don't think you'll be able to find anywhere else, perhaps in the world. And it is a program designed for a real premium customer base. It's an estate-type property service, really aimed at a wealthy clientele. And the way it works is that you will literally do soil testing. You'll take soil samples for these particular clients, and we will manufacture products to match up with really the genetic footprint of the soil. So a bioassay will measure the levels of microorganisms in soil biology, whether it's bacteria or fungi, and we can actually create in our laboratory products that will literally match up with what that soil has in it and what it needs to help your turf reach its genetic potential. I could spend a full hour on this program, and I won't. But if you have any questions about it, we can follow up after the fact. Secondly, our standard organic lawn care system is a 6-step liquid approach that revolves around soil biology and natural inputs. We have what we call our Elements program, which has become sort of popular with our companies that also offer a traditional chemical program. And what that means is we take that traditional program and introduce elements of our organic program into it, really to reduce inputs and inevitably save you money. Our products are just right in line with many of the traditional inputs, and they help you reduce those inputs, especially nitrogen. Finally, lots of our guys are taking some of the products that we offer in some of the other programs and just dropping them in sporadically throughout their chemical program, and we'll go over an example of that in a minute. Our program revolves around 5 particular principles, and that's bionutrition, biostimulation, organic fertility, chemical-free pest management, and information and education. And what I mean by that, those 5 things, bionutrition is really the introduction or study or manipulation of soil biology. So all of our products contain a consortium of soil improving microbes that are going to help you create a nice lawn without consistently pumping nitrogen through it. Biostimulants are products like kelp and humic acid that really revolve around preventing stress to turf. When do your customers cancel, or when are your customers not happy with the quality of the lawn? When do their lawns not look good? It's when they're stressed out. Most lawns look nice in the spring and fall, but in the summertime when they're stressed out because of heat and drought and foot traffic and those kind of things, that's when your customers aren't happy. So biostimulants are a part of what we do. usually leading up to the mid and end of the summer to help prevent that stress. This is a very different approach than your standard approach. Of course, organic fertility is important. There are fertilizers that are organic throughout, depending on where you are. If you're in the north, they usually fall in the late spring and early fall. If you're in the south, we always want to fertilize throughout the course of the summer. It depends on your grass types. Chemical-free pest control is important. You don't just ignore the fact that your lawns have weeds and crabgrass and insects. So there are always organically acceptable methods to help treat turf problems such as weeds, insects, and disease. And information and education, that's a given. You always want to help your employees be up to date on what is going on. Your employees will help your customer base and potential customer base be up to date in terms of setting expectations, understanding that treating a lawn organically, your cultural practices need to adjust just a little bit, watering and mowing and that kind of thing. Again, I could do a full hour on that only. We talked about the Elite program a little bit here when we manufacture our products specifically for your estate-type properties. The cost associated with this is typically not a huge amount more. It really revolves around a minimum because since we're literally manufacturing custom products based specifically on your soil test, we standard will manufacture about 55 gallons at a time. So if you've got a small lawn that you want on the Elite program, you might actually have 5 years worth of product on hand, but that's going to increase the cost a little bit. It works well with large sites where you can really customize things to what you're doing out there. Again, the Advanced program is a typical 6-step liquid approach with very little transitional time, meaning a lawn can go from chemical to organic without the customer really noticing. In the case of a significantly over-treated lawn that's been treated with chemicals for a long time, usually a granular application of a natural organic fertilizer will help satiate the short-term nitrogen requirements. A lot of our applicators offer a premium program where those 2 granular applications are part of the program, and they'll just charge a little bit more. But transition time is not too bad. And the Elements program, again, as I mentioned, takes the standard chemical program and introduces elements of our organic program. So I wanted to take a quick look at cost associated with this because most people are usually surprised that the cost associated with a program like the Elements program is probably less, at least it's very close to what you're doing already with your chemical traditional program. So on average, as you can see here, we'll be able to do, in terms of product cost, each application in the neighborhood of $1.50 per 1,000 square feet and less towards the end of the year. So if you're running a traditional program now, I encourage you to absolutely take a look in more depth at how we can help you save money in your traditional program. Other than that, the typical 6-step type program, you're going to come in at about $12 per 1,000 square feet per year. The Elite program is going to cost more because we're going to have to do the soil bioassay, interpret the results, manufacture the product, so it's a little bit more. It's hard to put an actual cost on that per 1,000 square feet. And we've got other inputs that we can kind of plug in to save money as well there. So a lot of guys, and there are some questions here in regards to the product specifically. So what I typically do is review one product. We've got a pretty significant number of products at this point. We've got dealer applicators all over the country, and different turf types and different environments require different products. So we've really put together quite a line of products, but I want to cover just one specific product that is really involved with any type of program that we do, and it'll give you an idea of what our products are all about. And I'll review Growth Activator Pro here. It's really an all-natural product that's specifically formulated to enhance biological activity in the soil profile, to promote the establishment and enhance the viability of turf. This biologically diverse microbial system contains multiple species and strains of beneficial soil bacteria and fungi, along with a proprietary blend of targeted microbial nutrients designed to promote rapid establishment in the rhizosphere. And what that means is when we apply this product, the beneficial soil microorganisms reproduce and populate rapidly once they're in the soil. Additionally, it's going to contain a unique blend of bioactive microbial metabolites to further enhance the overall product performance. So this is a list of literally the microorganisms that are in this particular product, and everything is there for a reason. Because we're reducing our dependence on fertilizers and pesticides, we can kind of manipulate what happens by using different species of biology. So certain species here will enhance plant growth and help decompose pesticide residues that are left over and help nutrient cycling. What that means is that we're going to try to find nitrogen in other places, whether it's the air or the soil. And again, there's different fungi that do that. We want to enhance seed germination. So if you ever do an aeration with overseeding or you're trying to establish a new lawn, these products will help that happen quicker and stronger. We want to help the plants produce natural growth hormones that deal specifically with stress. Things that will prevent and suppress disease activity. One thing you'll notice that immediately, kind of wimpy diseases like red thread and leaf spot immediately vanish. Some of the more difficult to control diseases, like the patch diseases, are minimized literally almost down to nothing. So we can go over all of these other products at any time you'd like. Now is not the time because I'm getting a little bit long-winded at this point. As I said, we've got about 20 different products, and we can go over them later with you. One thing I wanted to mention is weed control. And I've had several people ask questions. That's always a big question. What do you do about weeds? Well, you don't just ignore them. You have to be able to deal with them. We use several different types of weed control products that are all organically acceptable under the strictest organic standards. And those, again, are things that we can review another time. In terms of insect control, there are lots of products out there that are very successful in controlling insects like cedar oil or nematodes. Neem oil, other botanicals have been around for a long time and work just as well as chemical products, and just really haven't gotten a lot of use because we depend so much on chemicals to deal with these things. You know, I mentioned organics in the chemical program, and I want to talk about a couple things here real quick. Turf Soother is a product that we offer that is usually used in the summertime. It's not biologically enhanced. It doesn't have the strains of microbes in it. It's a combination of kelp, seaweed, and humic acid, and some other things to really help with stress associated with environmental extremes. And I mention this here because one of the companies I brought up earlier, a company called Perfilon, has a very large traditional customer base. And this summer, because it was a very difficult summer in terms of heat and drought, they came to us and said, hey Tom, I don't think applying a fertilizer right now is appropriate to our customers. What can you suggest that we use in terms of an organic product that will help get us through this bad situation? So Perfilon went ahead and applied our Turf Soother to their entire customer base, and it was a gutsy move on their part because a lot of times people are a little bit afraid to make that type of move, and it was successful in that literally not one of their customers, not one customer questioned it. Not one person said, hey, did you do something different, or I see something working a little bit differently. The customer base simply didn't notice. And Turf Soother is really sort of a low-budget product designed to really get put down in these stressful times, and it saved Perfilon a great deal of product cost, and it helps agronomically. It helped the turf get through the stress, and not one customer noticed that a big chemical lawn care service company did a completely organic product, and I thought that was kind of cool. We've also got research to suggest that our growth activator applied at about 5 ounces per 1,000 square feet can reduce your nitrogen needs by up to 25%. You'll see a lot of golf courses doing this kind of thing now, where inputs and associated with cost or environmental impact are trying to be reduced, and a product like Growth Activator will help do that. We also have a product, it's a 2000, that's a biologically enhanced urea. Now this is certainly not something that is acceptable under most organic standards because urea is not a renewable source. It's derived from petroleum. So most organic standards do not allow the use of urea as a certified product. Now that doesn't mean that many standard or conventional programs can't use it. And the reason I bring this up here is because it really reduces the amount of nitrogen that you're using in terms of pounds per 1,000 square feet. When you begin to make the switch to products that are biologically enhanced like ours are, with an analysis like 20% nitrogen, we're talking about applying nitrogen in the tenth of a pound as opposed to the, to a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. This is a great product. It will give you really good results. It's definitely similar in cost to your standard inputs, and you're reducing the amount of nitrogen you're putting into the environment significantly. We covered a couple of products here. I briefly mentioned them, but I did mention that if you want to do more research, which you have to do actually, we've put together a site. We call it our due diligence site because it allows potential applicators the ability to look at our product line and lots of other information. And the dealer advisor that spoke to you to get you today's webinar will sign you up to get into our due diligence site. It's password protected because it contains all of our proprietary product line and information that we don't like to be out there in the general public. So your dealer advisor will send you login information for you to get in there, and there's a great section on products that will go into much more detail in terms of an explanation that I was able to on today's webinar. I want to mention a couple of customers that we're pretty proud of, high-profile customers. I've talked about Scarborough a couple times. We've worked real hard on that because it's a municipality that really reduced and made a commitment to go completely organic very successfully. If you're down in Florida anytime this winter or at in Orlando at Universal Studios, check out the St. Augustine and Bermuda grass there because it's cared for with the BeeSafe program throughout the entire park. We work with Harvard University, which is really important to us because Harvard did a groundbreaking study on what we do probably 6 or 7 years ago at this point, and they converted the entire campus to organic using compost tea. And a lot of times we refer to our products almost as laboratory-created compost teas, but we've been working with them to introduce more elements of the BeeSafe program around campus. And I was down there just a couple of weeks ago on a tour of the entire campus talking about where they were going to expand the use of our products for next year. One of our members of the network takes care of the Regional Little League World Series parks in New Jersey. We think we're pretty proud of that. They had great results last year. We're working with a couple other places that I probably shouldn't talk about here, and I should probably take that off because that final one there we weren't able to pull off. I need to change this slide, but we were in a position to get some of our product to be used at a residence of one of our presidents, but it didn't come to fruition, so I'll probably take that off. But that's the level that we're working on here. A lot of our products and our systems and programs are in some very high visibility and successful places. So that's going to really kind of wrap up the things I wanted to cover today. I think I've answered most of your questions. The next step, if you want to continue on, is to talk to your dealer advisor that got you here. Look at that due diligence site. You can talk to our Director of Dealer Development, who is Dick Conley, and his contact information is here. Feel free to call him or myself anytime if you have any questions in regards to the products, the systems, the territory, a lot of the things that we covered relatively quickly today. We're happy to answer the questions more. So there's a couple other questions that I don't think I answered throughout the course of the webinar, and I'm gonna answer them right now. I absolutely encourage you to please type in any other questions if I didn't cover something you'd like me to have covered. I can talk about it now. But one question here that comes up a lot is what type of equipment? I've got a couple questions about equipment. equipment is needed to actually apply the products. And I think I mentioned that the majority of the products, or all of the products, are liquid. They're liquid foliar concentrates that are mixed and applied in a sprayer. So to answer that question, you typically will need a skid sprayer. And that kind of goes back to the old-fashioned Chemlon way of spraying lawns with the Chemlon gun. A lot of companies still do it. The question here is, can you apply it with a permagreen? Most permagreens are not equipped to apply the volume that we need to get out. We need to get out at least 1.5 gallons of product, not actual concentrate, but of finished product per 1,000 square feet. 1.5 gallons. I'd like to see 2 gallons of product per 1,000 square feet, but you can get it done with 1.5 gallons. And most of the permagreens don't have the ability to spray that type of volume. I do know that they've got a kit that will allow you to change your spray system. Another company, Z-Spray, has developed a couple of ride-on units that do carry much more liquid and do allow you to be able to get up into that volume. Another question I have is what size tank is required for a typical daily route? Well, that depends on what your idea of a typical route is, and if you've got somebody going out full-time treating lawns, they can typically do up to 200,000 square feet a day. You know, if it's just a typical residential route, 200,000 square feet certainly isn't out of the question. If you're applying products at 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet, and you're going to apply it to 200,000 square feet, you'd need a 400-gallon tank. That's why a lot of our guys will reduce that to 1.5 gallons so they don't have to carry around as much liquid. They can be more productive with less liquid. So hopefully that answers that question. And I think I've covered it all. Now guys, I'll wrap up if there aren't any other questions. But as I said, the next step would be to talk to the dealer advisor that got you to this point, or to schedule a call with Dick Conley, who's the Director of Dealer Development. We can schedule a tech call to talk about your market specifically and how our products can fit into what you're attempting to do. Talk about your business specifically as well. So this is the last chance. If there aren't any questions, we'll wrap it up. And we really hope to hear from you guys soon. And we've got a training coming up next week. The next one training will be this week. The next training will be towards the end of January, and we hope to see some of you guys there. Thanks, guys.